What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome to week 5 of the MDL, where this week we're going to be taking on none other than King and the King County Mells. Here are the teams. Clap! Very excited for this matchup. Very going to be fun. And let's see. So, we've got Tera Steel Cryogonal and Tera Ground Tornadus. So that's more or less what I was expecting. I could have also seen Rotom Fan coming, but I felt like Tera Cryogonal had to come here, and Tera Steel is like one of the most common things you run. Also, Tera Ground Torn makes a lot of sense. We're going to see Samurott, Pecharunt, Torn, Ogerpon, Iron Hands, and that. Okay, so very glad not to see no Arch, Mammal, or Florges. That is very nice. I will not lie, I was very scared about those Pokemon. Overall, this is actually a pretty solid matchup for me. Let's see, if they lead Torn, I won't be able to Volt Switch with Iron Crown, which is a bit rough. I do really like Siren here. Siren's a little bit of a fun set. Let's see. So, I think what I'm going to do... Ogerpon lead could also kind of suck here. I could also lead Hydra. Hydra and just Tera immediately. I'm pretty down for that. Low key. Hydra's is going to do the equal amount to Tera Fairy Hydrapple. Actually, yeah, Tera Hydrapple here looks really solid. I'm not going to lie. So I think I'm going to lead Tera Hydrapple. Yeah, that's really good here. I like that a lot. I'm going to do that. Good luck out finding my opponent, as always. This is going to be a very fun game. And, yeah, let's do this. Okay, so we do have Choice Scarf Iron Crown. We have typical Life Orb Landorus. We have Crooked, the Crocodile with the Cobra Cloak. That's our Pecharunt answer, which I'm very excited about. With Taunt and Rest. With the Cobra Cloak, that way we don't get poisoned. Let's see what they go out and do here. So we see Hand, that's going to be Hammerot. So I was wondering if that was going to be Hammerot. So Hydrapple versus Samurott Hisui. Let's see, Tera Fairy. Tera Fairy, Tera Blast is 47 to 56%. I'm going to click that button here. I don't care. Because there's zero reason for me really not to, I don't think. So, yeah, I'm just going to click Tera Fairy and I'm going to Tera Blast here. That is what I am going to do. For free! Because, yeah, Razor Shell does 29 to 34%. You really just don't want to stay in against this. And if you're not Assault Vest, if you're not, like, bulky, then this should just, like, nuke you out of the face of the earth. So, yeah, this should nuke you off the face of the earth if you're not bulky, which, there's a good chance you're not. So, very fun, very curious to see what they go for here. Looks like they stay in, so I'm expecting a Ceaseless Edge here, if I had to guess. Because Ceaseless Edge is a very scary move, and I don't have hazard removal this week. So that's my assumption anyways. We're going to go ahead and Terastallize Hydrapple. Let's see what they go for here. We just see a Flip Turn actually, so they're going to get some chip here. The crit sucks, but it doesn't matter too much when we have regen. So we are going to go ahead and see a swap, which is great for later on. Let's see. It also tells me there's a very good chance that they're Scarf. They now know that I'm rocking helmets, obviously. We could see Pecharunt switch in here, which is probably, at least that's my guess on what comes in here. I don't know what else would really want to come in here. Like, maybe Torn, maybe Cryogonal. We're going to see Masks. That's going to be, is that Ogerpon? Oh, okay, so that's Ogerpon. Very interesting. So it's Ogerpon, Hearthflame, because that's kind of my switch for this, I feel. Unless they were expecting Tera Blast. I really wish I clicked Body Press now. So, very curious there. Power Whip will do 42 to 50%. I should always tank that. Very interesting. I was not expecting that. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Yawn. Put this thing to sleep. So, thank goodness I did that. We're going to see a Swords Dance. Alright. So, basically, you will be put to sleep if you decide to stay in. And I'm okay with that. Now, Power Whip does 42 to 50%. Ivy Cudgel, will Ivy Cudgel kill me at this point? Probably, yes, it will. So, let's see here. Do I need... I don't need Crown, but if I go into Crown... I do also have Pocket Piece, so at this point all I need really is damage. Let's see, Iron Crown. Psychic will two-shot. So I'm going to go into Iron Crown here. I don't want to save this. Also, to be fair, going into Iron Crown is also really solid here because of the fact that no matter what, I can go for a Volt Switch unless they switch into Torn. You're going to see the swap. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see if they go into Torn or Pecha. We're going to see spins. What is that going to be? That is going to be Cryogonal. Okay. I'm okay with this. This is very okay with me. So Cryogonal is going to switch in here on my Iron Crown. The nice thing about this is Lightning Rock Dusk can still KO this thing. I don't know if they Tera here. I don't know if they go for the Tera type, especially against Crown. I think they're going to try to double. I could Psychic here. I could also just click Volt Switch. Volt Switch is pretty free. I don't know what they would want to go into here versus this. I think I'll Volt Switch. I could also just go crazy and click Focus Blast. How much does Focus Blast do to Cryogonal? Does over half. But I don't think that's super reliable, so I think I'll click Volt Switch here. I think they're going to swap, especially because I was expecting Tera Ground Cryogonal, honestly, specifically for, or Tera Ground Cryogonal specifically for Iron Crown, so I'm surprised not to see that here. I think they might try to switch. If they do Tera, that's not the end of the world if we switch out here. It will reveal that we're Scarf, unfortunately, which I don't like, but it is what it is. We are going to see the hard swap. Okay, so I'm glad I got that right. Let's see what switches in here. It's going to be Burb. That's Torn. Torn is taking a Volt Switch, which is great. I'm a big fan of that. Alright, we're going to fire a Volt Switch. Boom. Perfect. Good damage. Very good damage here. We switch. This is going pretty well. So now, what I want to do, I might go into Pocketpea and force the Tera. I could do that. I could also go into Siren and force like Pecharunt to switch in here. I could go into Pistachio, but I'm worried about Ice Move here. Let's see here. I definitely want to keep Pocketpea alive for sure. So I think actually what I might do, I might go into Siren. Yeah, I'll go into Siren here. If Pecharunt comes in, that's fine, because I have, whatchamacallit. Yeah, I think Moonblast makes the most sense here, right? I feel like Moonblast makes the most sense. I could also Whirlpool, and I think Moonblast makes the most sense, though, so I'm going to go for Moonblast. I will go for Moonblast here. I'm willing to bet that they're going for U-turn here to recover this damage, which makes sense to me. We're going to see a U-turn here. Boom. That is fine by me. Unfortunately, we still haven't burned the Tera yet, but what has to switch in here, it needs to be Pecharunt. I have to assume it's Pecharunt. If it's Ogerpon, that's not ideal, but it's fine. Everything else is okay here. Even, like, Cryogonal is okay here. We're gonna see Peach. That's Pecharunt. Okay, perfect. If we get this special attack drop, that'd be pretty awesome. I'm not gonna get greedy with that, though. Okay, yeah, we don't see that here. But I can go into King for free. Or not King, Crook for free. And then go from there. I have a very free knockoff, and that's gonna be that. Crooked! Let's go! Okay, so... they could be a curse set, but if that's the case, then a knockoff will kill. We're just going to see a Parting Shot. Okay, well played. Well on you. Okay, so... we're now at -1. What wants to switch in here? Probably... Ogerpon? There's a lot of things that can come in here, unfortunately. This is my Pecharunt check, but it's fine. They have Parting Shot, which means they probably don't have Curse. They might not have Setup either, so that's good to know. Let's see, they probably have Malignant. They probably have to have Ghost Move for Iron Crown. So, yeah, I'm very curious to see what they go into here. If it's Torn, I might just stay in and click Knock. Just to knock off the item. It's probably Heavy Duty Boots, if I had to guess. I think that makes the most sense. Tornadus, Therian. That... actually, it might be AV. It might be AV, actually. It looks like it has bulk. We're gonna see this come in. It might be AV, actually. Let's see. Tornadus T versus Crook. Grass Knot to 60 to 71%. This always comes in on Pecharunt. So I think I just click Knock, actually, to knock off whatever item you have. We're gonna say U-turn, actually. Okay, so U-turn, that's fine. That is fine by me. We're gonna get some momentum here, which is great. We could see Ogerpon come in here on a knock. And that'll kind of suck, but it's not gonna do that much damage, unfortunately. So, hopefully we don't see Ogerpon. We're gonna see Ham. That's gonna be the Samurott. Okay, Samurott comes in. Very interesting. I am okay with this. We're gonna click knockoff here. Boom. I'm assuming you're Scarf? You are indeed Scarf. So now Crocodile should outspeed you. I'm gonna go into my Hydrapple. And that's gonna be that. Perfect. Hydrapple's pretty much a switch in for Ogerpon and Samurott always. So you can't really go for flip turn very reliably. Eventually, once Samurott and Ogerpon go down, I'm going to want to use Hydrapple for Tornadus as well to help keep to at least help weaken regen with U-turn. That's kind of what we need to go there. We send in our Tera Fairy Hydra. We're going to see Ceaseless Edge here. That is fine by me. Alright, you're going to take more damage from Rocky Helmet. That's great. Okay, now I think what I do here, I think I click Body Press. This time on the Ogerpon switch, because Ogerpon swapped in last time. You could be going for Pecha. I'm going to Body Press here though. I will Body Press here. I think that's a pretty free button for me to click. Okay, let's see what else is there. Yeah, I do like going for a Body Press here. I think that makes a lot of sense. We are going to see a flip turn. Wow, they really don't mind taking damage with this Mon. If we can make it only one layer of spikes, that's going to be amazing for us. That'll be really, really solid for us. So if Ogerpon comes in here, I click Draco next turn, which is great. I don't know if Pecharon comes in on a Draco. That's my thing. If Pecharon comes in, then they have to go for Parting Shot, otherwise Crook gets a free switch, which is pretty awesome. So let's see what they want to do here. Boobity 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 boo. Last time, they are going to switch in Pecharon this time. Okay. That's fine. We're going to go for a Body Press. We're going to miss because it doesn't affect Pecharon. Alright, I'm going to go into Crook this time. I'm just always going to go into Crook. If they go for an attack, then Crook's put in a very good position because I can click Taunt and then Rest. That's kind of my mission here, to shut down Pecharon. And actually, they might hard swap on a Crook. They might hard swap on Crook, which would make a lot of sense, I feel. So, we're going to see what they want to go into here. Bada bing, bada boom. We go into Crook for free. For free. They have to go in for a, whatchamacallit, I feel. They have to go for a Parting Shot. Yeah. Okay. So they go for Parting Shot. I don't want Crook to die here if they go into Torn. I'm not sure what I want to do here. They could also go Cryo. If they go Cryo, I go into Crown. If they go into Torn, I think they're not going to Terrastalize. I think they're going to click U-turn on Torn. I think that makes the most sense. So I think there I'm going to go into Crown. I think that makes the most sense. If we see Ogerpon here, that's going to really suck. If we see Ogerpon here, that's going to be unfortunate. Now, granted, we do have whatchamacallit in the back. We do have that one Pokemon. What's that one Pokemon called? That one Pokemon is called a... I don't even remember anymore. Perish Song is going to be very hard to pull off, unfortunately. Yeah, Perish Song is going to be hard to pull off. We're going to see Burb. That's the Torn. Okay, so Torn comes in. I think I might go into Crown here. Well, okay, if they go for Knockoff and I lose my Scarf, that's going to suck. If they go for U-turn, Crown puts me in a decent position. I think I have to go Siren, though. I'm going to go Siren. I will go Siren here. And see what they want to do. Alright, we're going to switch out Crooked, and we're going to send in Prim. Switch out Crooked, send in Prim. There we go. Whaddup. Let's see what they want to go for here. We take damage from spikes, unfortunately. We're going to see a U-turn, if that makes sense. Okay. So I guess this Pecharon's going to come in here, and we're going to continue this train. That is my guess as what's going to happen here. We could also see Ogerpon, I guess. I don't think Ogerpon's going to switch in here, but we could see it. We could see Ogerpon switching in here, going for an SD. And if Ogerpon does come in and go for an SD, I'm clicking Perish. I think if I see Ogerpon, I click Perish to prevent SD sweep. That is what I do here. I'm playing too passive. I'm playing too passive. That's what's going on right now. I need to stop playing so passively. Peach. So it is going to be Pecha. So every single time they've clicked Parting Shot, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to click Perish Song. I'm going to click Perish Song on whenever wants to switch in, expecting that. So I'm going to click Perish. I'm going to click Perish here, expecting expecting a Parting Shot. Because I think that's what they're going to go for here. I think they're going to go for a Perish Song. Wow. Okay, I could have gone into Crook here. That's annoying. Don't get poisoned. Thank you. Okay, Perish Song, bada bing, bada boom. Alright. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go for a Protect. Always. Every single time. Maximize my lefty's recovery. There we go. Perish count fell to 3. Okay. So, I'm going to Protect. I have Protect. Yep. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's see if you go for Parting Shot. Yep, you do, obviously. Alright. So now counts are going to fall to 2. I'm going to get more lefties, which is always nice. 2. Can I take another one? I don't know if I can. Let's see here. Pecha runs. Did 44 to 53%. I'm at 156. I'm at 44%. I'm not going to be able to take another one. I'm not going to be able to take another one here. I think I have to go into Iron Crown is what I'm going to do here. We could see an attack. We could see a Heart Swap. We could see a few things here. We are just going to see a Parting Shot this time. Okay, so Katy Perry's attack fell. That's fine. And special attack. Petra runs is annoying. And the nice thing is, I'm in a good position now because I can outspeed a lot of threats and just go for an attack. And then go, like, just start going on the offensive here. So that's kind of what that's probably what I'm going to end up doing next. Yeah, I have rest. I on Crook. So I need to preserve that. Now that hazards are up, I'm going to have a harder time clicking, going into Crook against Petra Runt. So it is what it is. We're going to see Samurai come in. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go for a Volt Switch here every single time then. And hopefully I can keep all form of hazards. Yes, okay, so Samurai's going to go down. Perfect. As soon as Samurai's gone, Psychic is now spammable. Which was the goal with that. That is great. That is great for me. They might have forgotten that they were, like, lost their Scarf. So I think Hydrapple here makes the most sense, actually. We could see a Pecharunt switch. But I think Hydrapple makes the most sense. Actually, I can go into Pistachio. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go into Pistachio here. Because we could see a Cryo switch. I think that forces a Cryo switch, right? Yeah, that forces a Cryogonal switch. Also, we don't take any damage from hazards. So, I'm okay with this. I think this forces Cryogonal to come in. Yes, this is going to force Cryogonal to come in. Which is always nice. They don't know we're Life Orb. They could think we're Scarf. But I think this has to force Cryogonal in. We could see Torn come in as well, but if Torn comes in, then I think I stay in and go for an attack. Tornadus, Furion. Even if they have Icy Wind. Let's see, Icy Wind. You're not Life Orb. I think you're AV. We're gonna see Spins, that is gonna be Cryo. Okay. Icy Wind never KOs Landorus, which is great. And Psychic does a whopping 60%. I'm gonna switch back into Katy Perry every single time. If you want to predict this, you have to double BLUESKYs. Perfect. Alright. Going back into Iron Crown to take this Freeze Dry. BLUESKYs as well. Spike's damage is annoying, but it is what it is. We're gonna see a Spin here, actually. Okay. Spin is fine. Speed Rose, that's fine. Either you Terrastalize here, and Tornadus doesn't Terrastalize, or, yeah, you have to switch, I think. Because Cryogonal, the thing with Cryogonal is you don't have a great moveset. So if we can force the Tera here, that's massive for me moving forward. And here, I think I'm gonna Volt Switch into Lycanroc? No. We are gonna see the swap here. Let's see what comes in. It's going to be Ogerpon. Okay, Ogerpon comes in. So here, I go into Hydrapple, and I click Draco Meteor every single time. Is what I do. I'm pretty sure. Right? Hydrapple versus Ogerpon, Hearth Flame. It does 62 to 73%. I guess I could also click Yawn. Yawn is probably the better play here, actually. Yawn is probably the better play, because I think you're going to go for a swap. My guess is into Pecharunt. And if you go for an SD, this forces a swap. So, and if you go for damage, I can regen it off. So I think Yawn makes a lot of sense here. I'm very curious to see what they want to go for. We could see Torn clicking U-turn. We are going to just see an SD. Okay, alright, that's fine. We go for Yawn. I think what I'm going to do here, once again, I will go... I guess I could click Draco on the Pecharunt switch. And you know what? Yeah, I think this time I'm going to click Draco. I think I'm just going to nuke something with Draco Meteor. We do see the swap, so something is taking a lot of damage with this Draco Meteor, which is awesome. It is going to be the Pecharunt. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Perfect. Draco Meteor is going to do a lot of damage to you. Perfect. Okay. Now, you're forced to recover here, which gives Crook a fairly decent swap. And if you don't go for recover, then that puts you in a, then you're no longer a switch for Hydrapple. Which is kind of the goal here. Let's see what they go for. Do they go for a recover? They do go for recover. Okay, so now I can click knock. I can also click taunt. I can also click rest. I can also click EQ. There's a lot of things I can do here. I think they're going to hard swap. My guess is possibly into Torn. Do I want to rest? I think what I want to do here is I kind of want to knock off. I'm going to knock. Yeah, we see the hard swap here because Crocodile outspeeds. Perfect. We're going to see Bird. So Torn is losing its item. And it's going to take a decent amount of damage from this knockoff here. Alright, knockoff, BLUESKYs. Holy crap, that's a lot of damage. Assault Vest. Assault Vest is gone. That's amazing for me. Okay, so now, yeah, now Crown can go ham on that as well. So what do I want to go into here? Every single time you've been clicking U-turn. Do I think you do that here? I think you might. So I'm going to go into Worms here on the U-turn. Let's see what they want to do. You go into Hydrapple. Do they go for U-turn? They do. They're going to take Rocket Helmet Chip, and that's going to neuter their regen, at least a little bit more, which is good. Okay, now, I don't have much to stop a parting shot, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't have much to stop a parting shot. I think I should go into Prin. Crook's always my switch, but Crook allows in too many Pokemon, especially after a parting shot. And it allows Torn to come in for free, which I don't like, so I think I'm going to swap in Siren here. If you go for Malignant Chain, here's the thing, if you go for Malignant Chain, that gives me such a free swap into literally almost all of my wands. So, once Torn goes down, Lycanroc Dusk looks so good. It's honestly crazy. We're going to see that they're hurt by spikes. We're going to see Malignant Chain. That's okay. Well blown you. Well played. This does give me a free swap into, whatchamacallit, Iron Crown. I could also just go Crook and click Rest. You know what? I think I'm going to go into Crown. I'm going to go into Crown here. And I'm going to click Psychic. Cryogonal could come in here, and if that does, well played. But I want this thing to get heavily damaged. I want this thing to get heavily damaged if they try to stay in. Prim going down is not the worst thing in the world. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And that tells me Iron Crown is going to be really useful being Scarf for Torn in the endgame, so I need to be very careful with how I play this. But here's the thing, I don't think you want Pecharunt to take too much damage here, so I think you're going to swap. Now the question just becomes, do you parting shot or not? The only thing you can really swap into that can take this is Cryogonal. And if I go for a Tachyon, then that's really massive for me. So I'm very curious to see what they want to go into here. Let's see, Pecharunt. You also, I don't think you know if I'm Scarf yet or not. We are going to go for a Psychic here. Does this kill? Boom. Not quite, unfortunate. They go for Shadow Ball. Does this kill me? It doesn't. Okay, great. I just click Psychic. I think you're going to swap. I think that makes the most sense. You're probably going to swap into Cryogonal. Yep. Do we see the swap? Do we see Cryogonal switch in? Yep, we see Cryogonal switch in. That's annoying, but it is what it is. Pecharunt is now heavily weakened, which is great. So we're going to go for a Psychic here. Boom. That still does a lot of damage. Holy crap. I'm just going to click it again. Cryogonal can't really do anything to me, so I'm just going to do it again. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with this. Boom. Perfect. Rapid Spin. That's fine. You have to go for Recover if you want to recover HP. I'm going for Psychic again. If you want to kill me, you have to go for Freeze Dry. I'm staying in because there's no reason for me to at this point. There's no reason for me to try to save this thing because hazards are up on the field, so I'm very okay with this. I wonder, out of curiosity, how much damage Lycanroc Dusk can do to a Cryogonal Tera Steel. Tera Steel. Accelerate does 18 to 22%, so it's not in range of that, unfortunately, if you're max HP. Which actually, you probably are at least max HP. I think that makes sense. So, very curious to see what they want to do here. Freeze Dry, I'm at 23%. Freeze Dry should KO here, but I don't know if they know that. It doesn't look like they know that. So that's really good information to have. We are going to see that they Terrastalize. Okay, so Torn is no longer able to Terra, which is massive for Lycanroc Dusk. Okay. We could see that they recover. I think that makes a lot of sense. Do we see recover is the question. We're going to go for a second. We still have speed. Wow. Holy crap. Okay. That's kind of crazy. We do see recover. Okay. I think I could use Crown as a sack, and I think I'm going to try to do that. Because here's the thing, right? I died to spikes. You have to go for Freeze Dry if you want to kill me. I think I'm going to go into Hydrapple here. Yeah, I'll go Hydrapple. Rapid Spin again. That's fine. You're going to take more chip, which is great. Okay, now, I think here what I do, I click Yawn. Yeah, I'm just going to click Yawn here every single time. Yes, I click Yawn here every single time, because I doubt you want this thing to be put to sleep. And if you do, then that gives me a free swap into something else. Alright, I go for a Draco here. Nothing on my opponent's team wants to take a Draco from this point. So that's what I do every single time. I go for Draco. They could let this thing fall asleep too. I think that makes sense. In that case, I just double. I go into Lycanroc and I click Close Combat next turn. Let's see, how much damage? Bind. Okay. That's fine. I mean, that's not really fine, is it? Yeah, I could have put Body Press and this thing would be dead. Okay, because now they can go into Pecha for free. Ooh. Okay. Bind is really fun tech, I will say. So Cryogonal goes to sleep. Now I do have Body Press. There's not much I can really do here though. I'm gonna go for Body Press. They do let this thing go down, which is kind of crazy. Cryogonal dies. Tera Cap is gone. Boom. Very massive for Landorus in the end game. So Cryogonal falls. We are freed from the bind. And that will allow Pecharunt to come in. But because Pecharunt is weakened, I think I can just go for a rest with Crook. Yeah, Peach comes in. That's fine by me. Alright, I switch here into Crook every single time. If they want to go for parting, if they want to recover here, then that gives me a free rest with Crooked. Alright, so we've seen Malignant, we've seen Parting Shot, we know the full moveset of this now, so we know that Crook always walls. We're gonna see recover. Okay, I go for rest here every single time. I go for a rest every single time. Rest. This does allow Torn to come in for free, but I think this makes the most sense. Then, actually, I go into Iron Crown, let Iron Crown die to Spikes, they fail their U-turn, I can go into Lycanroc and scare that thing out. That's what I do. That is what I do. That's perfect. Holy crap, that's amazing. Okay. Okay. This is good. This is really good. This is a really good situation for me. You don't want to go into Ogerpon yet. Especially if I go for an attack here. If I go for an attack, then going into Ogerpon is really rough for you. So yeah, you're going to go into Torn. Perfect. So, now I click Rest. Bada bing, bada boom. So now you know Pecharunt can never win this game, because Crocodile just completely hard checks it. Badushkis. And now I'm going to go into Crown. Let Crown die. Then I go into Lycanroc. You don't know if I'm Scarf or not, and you can't go for Terra Ground, Terra Blast anymore. So we're gonna go into Katy Perry, we're gonna die to the Spikes. Perfect. And now, we are going to go into Lycanroc, and we're clicking Psychic Fangs. They stay in, interesting. Okay. Oh, you're going to know that I'm Scarf, but that's okay, I don't care. I'm going to go for Psychic Fangs here. You're going to know that I'm Boots, but I do not care here. You don't want to risk me, like, just KOing you outright. Yep, I go for Psychic Fangs here every single time. On the Iron Hand switch. This is a pretty good situation for me. This is a pretty solid situation. This is a pretty solid situation. All right, I'm very curious to see what they want to go for here. And honestly, let's see. Yeah, you have to swap Tornadus, Therian. Yeah, Accelerock could have just straight up KO'd. Pecharunt's coming in here. That's great. I click Psychic Fangs here. You are not a switch, my friend. You are just straight up not a switch. I Psychic Fangs again. Perfect. This is amazing for me. This is absolutely amazing. Alright. And my guess is they weren't expecting that. Psychic Fangs had a Lycanroc in general had a really great matchup here for this specific reason. They know I'm clicking it again. I have to. Yeah, this is a great situation for me. Ogerpon can't come in. It dies to an Accelerock, actually, I'm pretty sure. Ogerpon, Hearthflame. Yeah, you are just about in range of an Accelerock. And also, we speed tie. So there's that too. Like, we very easily speed tie. We do see the swap. Do we see Torn come back in? Here's the question. We're gonna see Ogerpon come in. Ogerpon dies to an Accelerock. Perfect. Mold Breaker, that's fine. Psychic Fangs, boom. Easy peasy. And now I click Accelerock. You can swap into Iron Hands. I'm okay with that. Perfect. Ogerpon dies. Ogerpon is out of the picture. Great for me. Pecharunt cannot come in. Torn does not want to risk tanking a Stone Edge to the face. So the switch in here is going to be Iron Hands, which gives me a free switch into my, whatchamacallit, my Hydrapple. Yep. Easy peasy. Alright. Tera Fairy Hydrapple coming in clutch. Landers is looking really good now as well. We're going to see a Drain Punch here. It's not going to deal that much damage, and you're going to lose recovery now. Alright, now. Oh, your protective pads. That's good to know. Okay. So I think that forces me to go for, let's see, Petra Run. Draco Meteor does 53 to 63%. But Tera Blast is still going to do a chunk to it. I'm going to Tera Blast here. We also speed creep this as well. So that's good to know. That is very good to know indeed. Okay, let's see what they want to go for here. We do speed creep, and we're going to do a lot of damage to this. We are just going to do a lot of damage to this. That's great. Perfect. Let's see how much damage we do. Whaddup. Holy crap, that's a lot of damage. We're going to see an SD. I outspeed you. I outspeed you. Now you know that. This is a great situation for me. This is a really great situation. I go for Tera Blast here again. Petron can come in here. They're not going to let Petron come in here. I just get a Tera Blast off on this Iron Hands, and Iron Hands dies. This is a great situation for me. Okay. So Hands goes down. So, Petron's obviously going to be the Pokemon that comes in here. And I really want to click Yawn. There's no reason for me to, though. Here's the thing. There's no reason for me to click Yawn, right? Yeah, there's no reason for me to click Yawn. You have to go for Recover. How do I want to handle this? I'm going to go into Crooked. I think that's just what I do here. And when Torn comes in, I go into a Hydrapple. The second game is going to be interesting. It's definitely not over. It's definitely not over. It's far from over. But if Torn goes down, then that looks amazing for me. We're going to burn a Sleep Turn here if they go for Recover. They just go for Malignant. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to burn a Sleep Turn. Knockoff. Yep, you have to swap. They go into Torn, I go into Hydrapple, and we repeat this cycle. You probably go for a U-turn here if I had to guess. Okay, that's one turn of sleep, so that's one. I need to remember that's the first turn. I go into Hydrapple here. Landorus and Lycanroc both have very free switches here, which is also really great to have in general. That is just really great to have in general. So this is a really good situation for me. So we've seen U-turn, I think U-turn and Bleakwind. We've seen U-turn and Bleakwind. So that makes sense. Okay. We are hurt by the spikes. Do we see U-turn? We just see Bleakwind. And they missed their Bleakwinds. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That does really suck. I go for a Yawn here every single time. Then what do I do? You're just gonna see another Bleakwind. Okay, wow. This is a lot of damage. I'm gonna go for a Yawn. And then I'm just gonna click Draco. I'm gonna click Draco Meteor on a switch. That's what I'm gonna do here. Yep, we see the swap. Petron's gonna come in here. We burn our second turn of sleep with Crook. Oh, no, you just actually die. Never mind, you just die here. Great. Okay, Petron dies. That's awesome. So, Torn's the last Pokemon. They can't set up. They send Inberg back in. So, I think what I do here, I think I go into Crooked. How do I win this? How do I guarantee win this? Is the question. Let's see here. Tornadus, Therian. I guarantee win this by chipping down this Pokemon enough so that way I get enough recovery from regen. The thing that's the scariest about this Pokemon is the regen. You had Assault Vest. We now intimidate you as well, so you're doing less overall damage. You go for Bleakwind, that's fine. Alright. I'm going to click Knockoff here, just in case we wake up. Let's see, U-turn. Okay, that's fine. Now I go into Lycanroc for free, and I click Excel Rock. I always click Excel Rock here. I never click Stone Edge because just in case you have Superpower, you are at -1, but I don't want to risk that. And, yeah, Excel Rock is just going to do a crap ton of damage to you. Enough to where Tera Blast should hopefully pick up the kill. It depends on how much Excel Rock does here, though. It depends purely on how much Excel Rock does. Boom. Okay, yeah, the Tera Blast from the Hydrapple will kill. We're gonna see a Dark Pulse. Okay, and I think we live this as well. Let's go! GG's to my opponent. Really, really well played. This was a very tough matchup for us, but we are coming out on top. GG's. Man, that was a really tough game. Sorry, I actually woke up from a nap previously before this battle. I was so scared that I was late, but my opponent wasn't ready either, so it ended up working out in the end. So yeah, I apologize if my throat is scratchy. I'll probably have posted something here. But yeah, once again, GG's to my opponent. Really massive victory for us. Holy crap, we're going 3-2. Yeah, Regenerator Hydrapple is insanely broken. Primarina didn't do that much, but the threats it did have helped out a lot. I think I played my sacks really well. Iron Crown really helped with pressure. Landorus was kind of rough in this matchup. I think I would have, if I had the chance to set up a sub, I think that would have been a lot better. Ultimately, I just never really got that chance. I really liked Landorus in this matchup against certain threats. It's just that those certain threats never really showed up, and there were too many checks for Landorus here, right? There were too many checks, but it is what it is. I really wish Landorus got a setup speed move. That would make that Pokemon extremely broken in this matchup. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Massive victory for us. We love to see it. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed. Please be sure to check out my opponent down in the description below as well. And yeah, that will pretty much do it. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!